Hello and welcome to Game Soup. It's a game design podcast with Chloe Montgomery.
And Kayla Dice. Kitcheneers in action.
Chefs, I think, is the word.
Chefs. I don't know if I'm trusted to be a chef. I think I prepare the sauce. I tried to make chocolates this week.
How do you even make chocolates?
Well, I melted chocolate and filled them with like rose cream to make
okay.
but I didn't have any of the stuff you used to cover it, so they were like weird half things. I don't know, man. It was partially successful.
It's cute. Like your Quality Street looking ass.
Yeah, I was trying to make some quality sweet chocolates because it was... Well, no, I was just doing it because, but it was also my best friend's birthday this week. But I didn't make them fuck all. We're game soup in. My teeth are fine.
My teeth actually chipped this week, so there you go. More teeth trouble.
Oh no. I had a cap in my tooth from chipping it as a kid, and then I knocked the cap out Gexpo, UK Games Expo earlier this year. And last time I was at the dentist, I asked about it. And I was like, oh, I did knock this loose. And they were like, well, we can fix that if you want. And I was like, does it matter at all? Or is it just aesthetic? And she was just like, yeah, it's just aesthetic. And I was like, I don't really give a shit then. Or at the very least, I don't want to give a shit. I'd actually rather be uncomfortable with the slight imperfections of my smile, which is very imperfect because it's all crooked and pushed in. But I think...
Well, I had braces for much of my teenage years, and then I lost my retainer for a year. So that was basically all for nothing.
Ooh.
So...
I never got braces. I could have had them. But they were like, we need to knock a bunch of teeth out. And I was like, nah, mate.
I did have a bunch of teeth knocked out when I was a kid. Like, on purpose. By the doctor.
Like, kid teeth or adult teeth?
Yeah, kid teeth.
I realized, like, because my memory's a bit funky, I don't really remember when kids lose their teeth. So I think I was talking about dentistry with, like, a year 7 class or something. And I was like, hey guys, what set of teeth you want? Like, you got the normal ones? You got kid ones? And they were all like, no, we've all got our adult teeth now. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember this.
At what age do you learn that the tooth fairy is real?
I assume it's... I don't know. I can't remember.
Because it's probably like mid-primary school. But like I would expect like some of the last few teeth to be like when you are in secondary school. So...
I think it can depend. I think a lot of them you get done out by primary school. But I was going to say with the tooth fairy thing, I sort of assume that like the last few teeth, you maybe know what's going on, but you're like, I still want the money.
the tooth fairy gambit. Yes, I will leave this under my pillow, parent.
Yes.
And then the tooth fairy
because the tooth fairy is coming, right?
Wink, wink. Yeah.
Right, parental figures.
Hey.
This is not a dentistry podcast.
This was the tooth time moment.
Tooth time, our recurring segment. Oh, imagine if we had like theme songs for segments. I can't be bothered, but it would be if it was just like tooth time, tooth time, tooth time.
Well, now you've got to edit that into every week.
Oh,
tooth time,
no.
tooth time, tooth time.
I love that. Like the moment I get put in the editing seat, I'm like, what if we had a bunch of segments and stuff? And it's like, who's doing this, Kayla? Who are you giving this work to?
Oh my god, who's sounding that air horn in the background? I'm trying to record a podcast, Holmes.
To start to get involved. Now we're back and forth in editing. We're just doing psychological warfare, making each other's lives harder. Do we want to start off with... I mean, our usual format is we grab 2 random words, mash them together in the large game design hard-on collider, and...
The what collider?
The large game design hard-on collider.
Isn't it Hadron?
Oh, yeah. I remember I had a friend in uni who went to go work at that, and everyone was like, congratulations, good luck with that large hard-on collider. And so many people said it so many times that a lot of people were like, didn't even notice they were doing it.
That's quite good.
Yes, we're gonna collide them,
Let's
and
smash the
then
particles.
pour them in soup. Are we starting off with that?
Yeah, okay. Do we have anything from anywhere?
I forgot to ask this week, also because we were recording on a different day than usual, so I didn't know when we were going to. So I just forgot. I just had a forgetful week. You were busy,
Yeah. I'm
so
gonna grab
I
two words from randomwordgenerator.com. I'm gonna refresh the page because it's kind of jank right now. That's like a
I've
yeah.
got one, I think, from randomwordgenerator.com. I'll just see if any of these other options, if I refresh a bit. Ooh. Got one word. I'm not going to throw it out there, both because I think it would be a bit small, but also I'm just like, bit weird. It was skinless. I don't want to use skinless, but it amused me. I think I know what word I'm going to use.
Look, I got do, so we're not gonna do that. It's just like the most verb-ass verb.
Yeah. I feel like we always need nouns mostly. Actually, no, I think
Yeah.
some words that can be verbs or nouns, I think are great,
Yeah.
which is
Okay.
what I've got coming up.
I have memory.
I have tame.
Tame and memory. See, immediate thought is it's Persona, but you're going into people's memories and taming them. It's like Pokemon.
Yeah, I was going to imagine it's like someone's memories like all leak out, and you have to capture and tame those memories and put them back in the head.
Hmm.
I've not played Persona. Have you played Persona?
I played Persona 5, which is like the only Persona that anyone's played. I mean, I bought Persona 4 and then never played it. Yeah,
I
I don't know.
remember a friend of mine has often said that Persona 4 is the gayest Persona and also the most homophobic.
They're all quite homophobic, is my understanding.
I think they described it as like, yeah, but it's the gayest one also because it's real. It feels more like internalized homophobia than an externalized one.
All I'm saying is that best girl is Yusuke, and he is not romanceable. He is the gayest man in video games, but he's not gay. So
Uh, so how homophobic do we want this game to be?
that's the real question. I think it's you've got to go into people's memories and you've got to capture the moment when their dad said, "I'll love you as long as you're never gay or vegetarian."
So whose memories are these coming from? Are these just this hypothetical, relatable
I
experience?
think you're going into the player characters. Like this is how you
Okay.
explore backstories. It's like a dungeon generator.
I was just like, that was such a specific poll.
I made that up. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good as a
Um,
make-up. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was a vegetarian from birth, so no one ever said that to me.
uh,
I guess I was also gay from birth, but didn't really realize that.
no, I think this is a like a thing you use in like your long running dungeon crawler or whatever.
Mm,
You go into each of the player characters' memories to like deal with their backstory.
yeah. I
It's
like
like
that as
the big
almost
bad from their backstory has manifested in the real world or something. So you've got to go into their heads to.
I will say we have now got very close to inventing, not in exactly this format, but inventing a game that I have written. Because I have written about a game where it's like dungeon, like physical manifestations of people's like traumas and troubles emerge as dungeons. And you're people who just have a paid gig of going in and like clearing them out. Like that's a belonging outside belong game I have written and will probably put out
Oops,
next year.
oops.
No, it's fine. So I'm like, do we need to distinguish this from the game I have written, or do
I
we
think
just keep going on this and then I say the first official game soup game? This is, oh my god, on episode 2 or 3, 2 or 1, we were like, oh, that time we do a here's one I made earlier. This is the one time we've managed it. I have this. Here's one we made earlier.
No, I think it's not a belonging outside belonging. I think it is like a D20 ass swords, guns, or what. I don't know what the setting is. Maybe it's guns. Maybe it's like fantasy.
Mm.
But I don't think it's like a belonging outside belonging. I don't think this is like a let's talk about our feelings. I think this is let's shoot our
Let's
feelings in the
shoot our
face.
feelings. Yeah. And I guess it's also yours specifically or your character specifically. This is the thing though, this makes it hard to write because I guess unless it's we come with a bunch of pre-written characters and we say you
Mm,
can use these for ages, but also here's the dungeons that are their
yeah, I
brains.
think this is the I like that each like pre-made character comes with like a brain, and you use that as like your character sheet. I like that as an idea.
Yeah,
But
brain. Ooh, that was also a thing. Have you ever seen like the zones of the brain?
no,
It's
is
like a
that
little map. Like it's. I just mean like the labeling of like where's the cerebellum.
yeah,
I don't think I said that right. But
cerebellum?
you could totally make a dungeon map
Yeah,
out of how
I
a
can
brain
get that.
looks.
And then it's like depending on how good your numbers are in each thing, it's a bigger area for each room of the dungeon.
Yeah, I like that. Specking up the people. This is our second thing of having invented dungeon crawlers. A genre I don't love, but you have experience in.
I think vague understanding is the best way to sort of engage with a thing.
Yeah.
Let's
I guess it prevents
mansplain
the
things
risk of
into
me actually
crawlers.
writing this.
Yeah.
I'm now thinking of what we call this.
Uh, I mean, when you said zones of the brain, I was like, is that a game? What is that?
Uh,
You heard of zones
zones
of
of
the
the
brain?
brain.
Is that an anime?
Yeah. Brain zone. Zones of the brain.
Um, tactical therapist action. I don't know. We can use that
Trauma
for.
response.
It's not bad. I don't hate
I
it.
actually quite like trauma response, like because it's like, oh yeah, this is what it is. Also, are you the trauma response? Like you're coming in here to deal with that,
Yeah,
to
you
shoot
all
that
like
up.
dressed as like ER people. You're like in your full scrubs, but you also have like a bronze +2 sword or some shit.
Yeah, I mean that gets to a little bit to the aesthetics of some of the characters from Psycho Dungeon, which is what
Uh,
my game is called. But yeah, I like trauma response.
yeah, you
I
can
think
steal
we
that for
settle
your
with that.
game.
Uh, I feel we're at the any further and we have to start writing point.
Yeah. Um.
Do we want to go back to magic ingredients, or I have a title that I could throw out and we just have to try and riff off that title?
Um. Let's. Well, yeah. What's this you've got then? It's a new segment. It's called making things up. Play the theme song.
Oh no! Don't make me play the theme song.
Sing the theme song.
Making things up, making things up, da da. Making things up is better than making things down.
And that was Taylor Swift with Making Things Up.
I'm not a dancing monkey you can command to sing on command. You don't seem convinced.
Citation needed.
Making things up. So I was talking with Laurie O'Connell, creator of Hieronymus and Litchcraft and other things. And I can't remember where the conversation ended up, but I was like, what is there a word of relating to like espionage or sabotage? In the same way, like you could be like, oh, word of relating to I probably could search this, but while riffing, I ended up saying the phrase saboteuriffic. And I'm like, what is the game? I also now will just say, so I think Saboteuriffic is a game, and we have the title and we figure it out. Imagine if this was a cooking show segment where someone just went like,
They name a dish that doesn't
yeah, they name
exist.
a dish and they're like, we're giving you nothing else. You need to tell me what this
It's
is.
chicken souffle. How do you make that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So what is Saboteuriffic?
Saboteurific, I think, is. Have you ever played Hitman?
Yes, I have played Hitman. I've played a lot of Hitman too.
Yeah. So, like, you know how there's always like a candelabra above the guy I've got to kill, or like a conveniently placed wood chipper,
Yeah.
or an electrical cable that you can unplug next to a pile of water you can pour.
Oh yeah,
You are the person going around these like amazing estates and like rally car tracks and everything. You've got to set up these traps
So is this like a map making game almost?
Maybe. I'm thinking it's more like I'm imagining you are playing as like Agent 46 and a half. It's like you are just the janitor who goes around and sets up, oh yeah, I could make this car explode. But I don't want to make it do it right now. I want to do it. I want to make it do it when my fellow me lads, Agent 47, comes round and fiddles with it for a bit.
Or maybe you're like a fucking demon or something. Because you're just creating a bunch of situations where people could die if someone tipped the scales.
Yeah, you're. I've never seen it, but I'm assuming you're Death from Final Destination.
Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, you're deaf from Final Destination, but there's also the fact that like we do need an assassin to come in and finish the job.
Yeah, I think like you maybe get like 5 minutes or something. It's a video game, I'm imagining. But
I feel we got to make this a. Oh, we
okay,
don't.
oh, we've got to go with a tabletop game then.
I
Okay,
feel that's the premise of our podcast.
probably the premise of the podcast. Yes.
I see. My gut here is like we come with sort of pre-made maps, and maybe
Yeah,
you have like a certain amount of details you can put in.
you've got to place down your little counters on this pre-made board. Like, oh well, here's the. I'm going to leave the wrench here so that the agent can fiddle with the car. Um,
Maybe I've now thought of a way this works, where maybe as like I feel we've more got to the point of this being a board game, but that's kind
yeah,
of fine. This podcast is sometimes that. I was gonna say, so you each are given a map. Every player has a map, and I guess you have a certain amount. You do these where you place down your tiles either via making notes or maybe like I don't know, sticking on stuff. Maybe it's like
yeah,
stickers or whatever. If this is like one and done, and then you have to swap and look at each other's map and figure out all of the ways to kill people that have been planned.
yeah,
And you both get points for how many of your things were guessed, and also how many other things you guessed for people.
yeah. And I think like maybe you get like bonus points for doing some like a mixture of things that they hadn't quite imagined.
Yeah. Yeah, if you manage to get like you have to write your map and then declare like maybe drawing on the back of it how
Yeah,
many things you have planned.
like wrench on car, electric on water.
Yeah,
But then,
you then
oh,
get a
somebody
point
used
for
water on car. I didn't think of that.
yeah, and so then it's like, oh, they get a point for all of the things you'd planned. You get points for those, but they also get points for anything extra that you allowed to happen there.
I like that.
I like that. That's fun. That feels fun. That feels
I can
simple.
imagine them doing it on an evil version of Richard Osman's House of Games.
Yeah. Oh god, is that what this show is? Evil version of
No, they play games on that. They don't make them.
Oh, thank god. Imagine that.
Okay,
Playing games and not making them.
it is a 10 out of 10 quiz show. It's my favorite quiz show.
I've never actually seen any of it. Though I've
My
seen the
parents got
James
me.
Acaster stand-up bit about being on it.
Oh wow. My parents got me the board game, but all of the questions are like the most we are assuming you're a 40 to 50-year-old person and you understand every like minor reference. It's so much more difficult than the TV show. I do not understand who the target audience is.
Because they think you are your parents rather than.
But like I was playing it with my parents and they were like, who a what? What? Habababa?
What?
Yeah. So I don't know, it's like the main show is like, oh, who is this pop star? But then it's like the board game is like, who is this opera singer from the 16th century?
Dang. Yeah, I get that. Because I guess it's like, it's a quiz show with, funny and famous people, right? So I
Yeah.
assume the idea of it, the game element is more to be unchallenging, to be a vehicle to allow people to be funny.
Yeah. It's like a lot of them are like, you've got to work out what the question's actually asking you as well as the answer. Like the big one they do on every episode is Answer Smash, which is you get an actual question and then you get a picture of something. You got to mash those two questions together, those two answers together. So, yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense.
it's
I think
like
we've wrapped on Saboteuriffic, right?
Yeah, we're just talking about House of Games now.
Now it's well, this actually just reminded me of a improv game that I knew,
Uh-huh.
where it's you count down and two people say a word at the same time, and then you count down again, and you're trying to do that until you say without any prompting the exact same word. So you're trying to meet in the middle.
I think I've seen that on TikTok, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. So it would be like if I said crab and you said shark at the same time. If we got it in one, we might then both go ocean, or we might accidentally end up like further apart because
Yeah.
I might say fish, whereas you say water, and then it's like, oh, we got to meet between fish and water.
Yeah.
Is there a game that you could use that? Maybe that's how you do spells in a game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is this like a spellcasting thing? Like each spell needs two people, and the stronger your spell is, the less guesses it takes to get there.
Yeah, I
So it's
like that.
like, oh, we both need to get rid of this fire, so we both say water immediately, so we get to wash it away immediately. But we need to tame a wolf, and I'm thinking, oh, we'll get a steak, but you're like a bone, and then we're gonna work out how to get. I don't know.
I kind of now want to just do this as an activity, which I'm aware would maybe be bad audio. I'm
we're,
just
we're trying not to speak over each other,
but I
Kayla.
really want to. No, that's fair. I am
Coming soon to the non-existent Patreon, clipping audio.
clipping audio. I was a bit of do we want to do a third thing? Because we're at 22 minutes. We could go a bit longer, or we could catch
I
up on our
think
lives, talk about the shows we've enjoyed.
I've, I'm disappointed there wasn't a podcast minds this week. I've been doing so much driving, and to not have my favorite podcast just ready to go.
I love doing counter call outs on.
Yeah, like I know they're not listening, so like whatever.
That makes sense. Yeah. What do you otherwise listen to when you drive?
Um, music. We started listening to a Doctor Who audio drama.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
really
that
into
makes
Doctor
sense.
Who right now because of the Magic decks that came out recently, and it coming back this month.
Oh my god, yeah, it is back this month. This is the thing where, like, I am also like at the moment quite excited about Doctor Who coming back, and also have a thing though where I'm like, one of my closest friends is so excited, like way more excited than me, and I'm like, I'm both excited on my own sense of, oh, I'm looking forward to this, but also I'm like, ah, my
They
friend's
are
gonna get like
vibrating
so
about
autistic
this.
over this, and this is gonna be great for them.
So yes, this audio drama I was listening to is called Doctor Who Redacted, and it's like an
Uh,
in-world podcast. It's like these three people who are making a podcast about sightings of this mysterious blue box throughout all of time. And so the first few episodes before the plot like really gets started, you're getting all these cute little callbacks to old episodes like, "Oh, did you hear about in 2008 when the people took dieting pills?"
oh god, yeah, that was new. I forgot it was called new.
Like the adipose episode.
Yeah, the adipose episode. Oh,
So it's like you get all these cute little callbacks, and then like I don't know, they've started like introducing characters from like Sarah Jane Adventure and shit.
oh fuck! I mean, have you seen that Tales of the TARDIS spin-off where Russell T Davies has randomly brought back Clyde from Sarah
Like
Jane
I did see
Adventures?
that. I've not watched it yet.
Good for him. I went to uni with Maria from Sarah Jane Adventures.
That's a fucking claim to fame.
It was actually really funny. So we were in a lesson once because she was also in the film Submarine. We were in a lesson on like riding the troubles, and there was a metaphor in a play we'd read about like about a like ringing sound,
Yeah.
and someone was trying to make a comparison that it was like sonar. She was saying she didn't exactly get it, and then the thing he said to try and convey what he was saying, because I think he'd forgotten the word sonar, is he was like, "Have you ever seen submarine movies?" And there was a beat, and she paused and then just went, "No, I've never seen submarine movies." And I'm like, okay, but everyone else knows why this is funny. That they've just done like the dialogue in films where like an actor is from Prison Break and they go, "This ain't my first Prison Break, kid." Like, are we all just ignoring that? That's just what happened.
So wait, she was your lecturer?
No. She was same year as me.
Oh.
It was a seminar, so we were just talking back and forth. We were just trying to figure out how we felt about this metaphor, and so she was just going, "Oh no, I've never seen submarine movies."
Submarine? I've never heard of such a thing.
It's also because it's like submarine movies in the sense did not mean the movie Submarine that she was in.
Like The Hunt for Red October or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah, Sarah Jane Adventures. It's just ended with a little Doctor Who chat. My ex-girlfriend auditioned for Doctor Who Redacted, but didn't get it because like the role was actually written for one person specifically, but they still did auditions anyway.
That's so toxic.
I think at the time I was like, oh, does it feel bad to know that like you didn't get this role because it was just written for someone else entirely? And I think she was like, no, it kind of feels like a relief because it just means it wasn't about me at all. I think I'd still be annoyed if I auditioned for Doctor Who and it was told, you may be a talented actor, but actually I was always dedicated to employing the person who is not an actor at all. I'm sure she did good at it, but I'm just like,
6-hour train ride down to London, booked a hotel, acted my fucking life out. Oh, but you're not the one person who we've already earmarked for this role.
I'd be annoyed. She was like, just like whatever. I think it's also at the tail end of acting stuff for her or whatever. But I'm now going to stop talking about my ex-girlfriend who I don't speak to anymore on a podcast because that feels a little weird.
Shout out to ex of the pod. I don't know.
Ex.
Anyway, Russell T Davies, if you're listening, we would love to be in the background of an episode as podcasters. Hit us up.
Yeah, if you are looking for podcasters or game designers. Yeah.
We do that.
If you're just like, I need 2 young, sexy ladies, we're available.
I'm not into Russell T Davies.
No, not in that sense. I just mean on screen.
Oh, wow.
I mean, also, based on what I know of Russell T Davies, I don't believe he'd be into us either.
That's true. If you need somebody to write the 3rd edition of the Doctor Who role-playing game...
Oh, yeah.
Hit us up. We can make it really annoying and inaccessible to the vast majority of your audience, if you like.
Yeah, do you want like a vague, weird, esoteric story game?
Okay, so I did have an actually good idea for an actual play podcast that was Doctor Who related.
Oh!
Which is probably dead in the water now, but the idea is that we would play through the storylines of Doctor Who. So like we would start with like the 9th Doctor or whatever. We would have the player playing as the Doctor has already seen the episodes, but then the companion player has never seen these episodes.
That's fun. I like that. So it's
like the Doctor kind of gets the bit of the Doctor's knowledge about the things that are happening. It's like, oh, I know this alien sort of thing. And then the companion's just like acting like the companion. Like, I don't know what the fuck's happening.
I like that. That's actually a really, like, that's not a thing I could otherwise imagine how you'd replicate, but that is a really nice way of transferring, like, a big knowledge gap between 2 characters without, I guess, just giving one player, like, a reference sheet that they constantly need to check for when they want to act smarter.
So the idea was that, like, obviously, like, they're not going to exactly follow the plot of the episode, so, like, it would get, like, a divergent timeline sort of thing.
It's like... And eventually you maybe get a different regeneration.
Yeah, and so our idea was that whenever the Doctor dies or whatever, you would get another person to play the Doctor. So it's like, you still know you're playing as the Doctor, but obviously you're going to play it differently.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then we would, like, want to get people who've never watched Doctor Who in to be like new companions, but it's like, who is going to want to be on a Doctor Who podcast having never watched Doctor Who?
It doesn't think where it's such a great pitch, but yeah, recruiting for it feels hard. But I do like that. I was tinkering with some time travel game mechanics recently, which was gonna mash up Mechanically, it's going to mash up some stuff from Patchwork World and some stuff from Patchwork World by Aaron King and Invincible Sword Princess by Kazumi Chin.
Mm-hmm.
I like the mechanics I got. I'd now need to like write a setting, but it wasn't entirely a Doctor Who game. But it was a bit the like adventure structure I was imagining was very Doctor Who inspired. But like
Yeah.
the overall arc was more other stuff.
I
That's
tell
just
you,
me. This has been a big me teasing future projects I have half written. That's not true.
wow.
Psycho Dungeon's fully written. I just need to I need to fulfill Terminal before I'm allowed to kickstart anything else.
Look, no, I'm not going to get into. I'm not going to start a fight on the podcast. Even
Why would you start? What did I do?
no, not with you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
With J Dragon, comma, if that is your real name. That's a reference nobody will get. I'll send you the video so you can like splice it in.
I have actually got the reference. Yes.
Oh, yes. Well, there we go. We can the Sleepaway Rant at the end of the episode.
Why have you given me so much editing? I never should have agreed to edit this episode.
I'm sick.
Oh, yeah. I hope.
Put it in the show notes. I don't give a shit. Just put an MP4 of an air horn in the show notes.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, I'm going to start our end of show wrap up soon before you tell me to do some fucking time loop bullshit with this episode.
I already did. Whoa.
No, yeah, you can find me on all social media via my big link page, socials.ratwave.uk.
I'm Plumtree Chloe everywhere. That is a good website.
It is the day we are recording this. It is exactly a month till Dragon Meet. The day it will out will be a bit less. We're both at Dragon Meet.
We're gonna be Dragon Meet. We're gonna meet some dragons.
Oh, we're gonna meet that big bad dragon.
I'm honestly disappointed at the lack of people in dragon costumes at Dragon Meet.
I know, right?
I've never.
Well, I mean, you can fix that.
At Dragon Meet. Oh, I can barely afford a fucking print run. Never mind a fucking fursuit.
Maybe face paint it. Body paint yourself as a dragon.
Sure, hon.
But yeah, we'll be there. We've both got print shit. I have been printing some stuff, and also
a month away.
Yeah, it stuck up on me. I was hoping to have Terminal there. It probably won't be there, which is fine. I just don't think. I think even if Terminal comes out in PDF this month, a print run won't be finished in time. But yes. I was listening back to last week's episode where I said I'm going to do a Kickstarter update after this. It was really funny because I've not done that. Maybe I'll do it today. Maybe I won't. I'm not making promises anymore. I'm done making promises.
I feel like
I'm in a bad girl arc now.
Thank you for listening to Game
Thank you. Bye. See you next week.
Bye.
I don't think that's the energy I want with our listenership.